Pleiades, then I've got somewhere to start. And when I visited Stonehenge, there was nothing available, no books I had at that time that showed anything like it next to Stonehenge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I picked up a book while I was at Stonehenge that had the picture, and it showed a grouping that looked like the Pleiades. I nearly jumped out of my mind. I mean, that was just, there's the book, and I find it actually at the little shop at Stonehenge.
Yeah.
And of course, going onto the site, you look across, and you can see groups and mounds all around you. They're everywhere. But the group of 7 are actually pretty big, but they're over the rise. They're a little bit hidden.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a road that's between it and Stonehenge.
So
but Google Earth, get onto the satellite images, and I've got the images from another satellite source on my website, so people can have a good look at it. It's amazingly similar.
So this is the winter.
Just recently, we found that the extra 2 stars that fit in to make 3 stars. So we're still debating with which one's which, because the one that matches the D&M pyramid on Mars, the lower part of the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Stonehenge is a grouping. It's still got trees around it, and the mounds are actually hiding in the trees.
Oh, really? Is that so? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So the 7, the Pleiades here, those are mimicked at the winterborn stroke barrows. That's the one.
Yes.
And then
1,000 years old. They're ancient.
Really? Wow.
That's what they say. Yeah.
That's amazing. So again, this is a pattern that is popping up all over the place with these 3 here, and then you have of course the what is referred to as the lost city of Babylon. Tell us about that.
Well, that's new. That's now we have these 3 stars. The third one comes into contention. You have this triangulation star effect, and when I first looked at the Google Earth images of Babylon, I saw the 3 big look like Silbury Hill.
Mm-hmm.
But guess what? They're recent. They rebuilt. Saddam Hussein rebuilt them and put his name on the block, just like Nebuchadnezzar, who built the original ziggurats.
And he believed he was a reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar also.
Yeah. I can look at it now and my eyes just go big. I mean, I can't imagine what inspired Saddam Hussein, where he got the pattern from, to do it probably like that. I mean, it seems an accurate representation. I'm thinking there might be some amazing artifacts in the museum that might show this pattern, and he reproduced it pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some conspiracy, I guess, theory that Saddam Hussein actually was a Mason, so that's a potential source.
Goodness
I don't know.
Me.
I don't know.
Weird world we live in today, I tell you what.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. Who knows? I mean,
it's not impossible. You're right. So who knows? But at the same time, look at these ancient sites. I'm quite amazed as well. If anybody's got an image of what the first photograph, we need like an 80-year-old photograph of the foundations of the original temples of Babylon, where the Hanging Gardens might have been built, and just the oldest monuments of Babylon, Central. Anybody's got the first research images of that area, I'd love to look at them, because he again flattened it and did archaeology research there, and there's not much left to look at. And all the images I've seen are done in the last 30 or 40 years, and there's nothing. It's just flattened. There's just ruins of rubble.
Mm-hmm. So, but
you see the pattern, of course.
Yeah, exactly, of course. But do we know that that's just a lost city? Do we have any idea of what was there before? Was it a very important structure, city?
Yeah, I would even bet that there were small ziggurat temples, because there's this kind of blur between temples and pyramids. Especially like you can see in the Mayan case, they put the little temples on top of the mound.
Yeah, that's right.
I would guess if it's not temples, it would have been obelisks of sorts, or some kind of beacon markers on the ground where you can see a foundation that there was something important, a pattern.
Yeah.
Now it's gone. But if anybody's got images of what was there 80 years ago, even that would be valuable.
That's fascinating. And I mean, exactly. I mean, Saddam was rebuilding a lot of the ancient, sites down there, but who knows now when the U.S. is in there. I've heard that they too actually are rebuilding a lot of stuff, and I can just imagine. Of course, we have all the looting and all of that stuff going on of the museums in Baghdad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a tragedy, of course, but there is rebuilding, and potentially then there might be some new archaeological stuff coming out from there. This is have been referred to, at least, even if, I necessarily don't believe that Babylon is the cradle of civilization, but it's an ancient place for sure, and there's a lot of, interesting artifacts around that area for sure.
Absolutely. Yes, archaeological value there's a lot of things to be dug up there. And Iran has got a huge story behind it as well.
Yeah.
It's part of my second book. There's another star map in Iran.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Huh. There we go.
I'll give you a few clues.
Yeah, okay.
Because I know it's very hard to research. I'm not just giving away all my material.
No, sure.
You hear the rumor that there's another face on Mars in Iran.
Really?
Like the face on Mars, but it's sitting in Iran.
Sheesh, my God. Okay, so this is interesting.
No more. Ask Richard Hogan.
Okay.
is a ruin of what I'm convinced is the face of Mars in Iran, and it's a really remote area. I've tried to get updated images. Google Earth won't do high-resolution images of it, but it's there, and there's something near it that if I tell you now, you'll think I'm joshing. So I'm not even going to mention it.
Okay.
We'll have to wait and see, but it's a beauty. It's an absolute amazement.
All right, yeah, we'll have.
But I want to prove it first. Make sure with the new images that I'm not seeing tricks of light and shadow again.
Okay, wow, wonderful. Yeah, we have to have you back on the show by then if you. But this is, as you said, this is for. This is research for your new book, upcoming, the second one?
Yeah, the second book. So, I'm actually not even sure if I'm going to do it my normal route. I'll probably use a publisher this time. It's just, to get through all the red tape and writing on forbidden stuff. I'm trying to actually get hold of Dan Brown's literary agent, who I've now got the information for. And I'm quite happy to let Dan Brown have a good look at the Solomon Key interpretation. I'm not out there to sell it to him. I'm quite happy that he looks at it, sees the logic in it as a star map, because that's what it really is. It's easy to compare to the stuff that I've already measured out and put together that he can compare it with. And as a researcher, Dan Brown has a lot of pride as a researcher too, and don't misinterpret him as being a novelist. I tell you what, he's a pretty intense researcher, and I know he has a lot of pride in a lot of his research, and that's why it's taking a lot of time with the murder mystery that he's wrapping around the Solomon Key story and the Freemason story that he says that he's going to write about. I'd be very happy that he took this and looked at it seriously before he prints his book and include it if he believes it's right. But I'm working on that right now, just getting information to him. Really? Wow, that's fascinating. I'm happy just that he just mentions, if he just mentions my name, can you imagine, what it would do for my book sales? I mean, it's totally unknown, really. Yeah,
that's right. I mean, there are a lot of, for at least for the Da Vinci Code, I know that Picknett and Prince were mentioned in there, and Mary Starbird, I think she's called. A lot of unknown authors at that time, but they have kind of gotten a boost, I guess, after he mentioned those sources. I think even Lynn Picknett and is it called Clive Pierce? They were even in the Da Vinci movie, I think, in one scene.
So I've had a very strange story up until meeting my co-writer Birgit Lederer, who I met 7 years ago now, who made it possible to get my book to the level that it is, quality writing style. And just before that, I was going to be co-writing my book with, you wouldn't believe it, but the guy that wrote Holy Blood, Holy Grail.
Really?
Yeah, Michael Bajan.
There we go.
He looked at my manuscript and he said, gee whiz, this is great, but I'm busy with, it was another book I think he was talking about. And it was a time where he's, a relatively newish sort of author and not a big name like he is today. And we were looking at trying to get something together with Random House, and strange things started happening. I was held back for a whole year where the people at this might not even have been Random House, it was another publisher that was interested perhaps, held me on a string for anything up to a year and a half, waiting for me to reinterpret stuff. They didn't like the Mars story, they didn't like the star worship thing. They wanted me to bring back in sun reverence, that this area, the exit marks the spot, is where the sun passes near, so it's interpreted as the sun. And I couldn't understand, why they were wanting me to leave out the Mars story, especially because of the detail in the Mars star map. And some strange things happened, and we just lost contact, and he didn't write my book.
Huh. Okay, that's interesting. So they were, looking at for a while, but then and they wanted to, twist the story then, I guess, and change it basically.
Well, yeah, and especially throw away the Mars part of it, because it has no value. They said. And more importantly, I got a phone call the one day from somebody in another country, not in the UK, I won't mention, but saying we're reviewing your manuscript, and we're a university, and can you explain this, and this? And I said, who are you? What are you doing with my manuscript?
Yeah.
And that's when I started realizing that everybody's handing it around and having a good peck at it, and maybe they'll do their own thing on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So what we did then is just take it to a TV channel and just let it out. That was what we did in South Africa.
Really?
Yeah, we did an amazing TV show in 2000. Where are we? 2003, I think it only aired. We filmed it earlier than that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was half an hour of controversial aspects. Is this a coincidence? Is it not? Seeing things, or is it real? And it actually got the whole project together. We had investors come together and want to be a part of it, and this is where we are today. Thank goodness, from one TV show.
Really? Okay. So this is out. This is available.
Yeah, this is of course the book, as you see now. That is the book. So, oh, you mean the TV footage?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, there is a link, but the TV station wants you to buy a copy of the tape, and it's equivalent to, well, it's 100 rand, 120 odd in our currency. It's quite expensive to get it and send it, but people can get copies of it, I believe. There's a link on my links page as well for that.
Okay, that's interesting, fascinating to hear that. Yeah.
But you can look at the actual what do they call it? The script. What do they call it?
All
the words we spoke in the program. There's a name for it. The script? No, not the script.
You're talking about the I know what you mean. The storyboard, basically, or
yeah, the whole everything that we said. I can't look at the words last now, but anyway, you can link onto that on the internet as well and see what we spoke about. But obviously, it's worth nothing without the images.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So was this like an animated thing in between?
We had all the images from our book. They did a couple of small animations, especially the impact of Mars and the overlay, which I've done on my website anyway, of the photograph of the stars and then overlaying it over the Mars area and then looking at all the small little anomalies matching the small stars, etc. It worked pretty well on TV as well.
Oh, fascinating. Yeah, that sounds very good. Yeah, I would love to see that. Yeah, so I mean...
We're now working on something new. We're trying to get onto YouTube. That's a whole new ball game, I believe. So hopefully I'm going to be doing some material for that as well.
Sounds good. Hey, we haven't at all yet dived into talking about the keyofsolomon.net, the entire, another website, as it were, that you've been setting up here. And I haven't been going through a lot of the material on the website yet, but I'd love to talk about it more and get your take on it, because you mentioned that this was your interpretation of the Solomon key. So where do we begin here, so to speak? What do you want to mention about it?
Sure. Now, when I started... after hearing the Dan Brown clue that he gave after doing the Da Vinci Code book, that he's going to be doing the Key of Solomon, and I already worked on the St. Peter Key with the Vatican, and the other. I'm trying to think what it is now. Anyway, we had this key sort of analogy, and I thought, well, there's a Solomon key, another repetition of the same secret, and what is the Solomon key? And would you believe it? Nobody really could show me. They said it's ancient manuscripts that have these talismans and pentacles, and there's a huge collection. So I went through I'm not joking, 30 to about 38 different archives of these weird, scary-looking manuscripts on witchcraft and really terrible stuff. And I think the whole witchcraft thing that ties in with it and pentacles and all that is a mechanism built around this grand secret that the ancients could take somebody interfering with these manuscripts or having copies of these manuscripts and kill them. They were burnt as witches at the stake for having this information. So I'm pretty sure something pure and wonderful was buried in something destructive and evil as a mechanism of protection. So society wouldn't tinker with it.
Just let us back up a little bit here again and run this by me again. Where did you